They told Ethan he was getting exactly what he deserved: a condemned firehouse bought at city auction for $10 and a legacy of shame. His stepmother smiled as she signed the estate papers, keeping the house, the savings, everything his father built, while Ethan walked out with nothing but a rusted key and the clothes on his back. What she didn't know was that his father had spent the last year of his life sealing something behind those old lockers, something worth killing for, and she just handed Ethan the only way to prove she'd murdered him. The lawyer's office smelled like lemon polish and lies. Ethan sat across from Vanessa, his stepmother, watching her manicured fingers drum the mahogany table. She wore black, but it looked like armor, not mourning. His father had been dead 3 weeks. "You're 18 now," Vanessa said, her voice smooth as glass. "Legally an adult. Your father and I discussed this extensively before he passed. He wanted you to learn independence." The lawyer, a thin man with tired eyes, slid papers across the table. Ethan's hands shook as he read. The family home, the savings account, his father's pension, the truck, all of it went to Vanessa. His name appeared once. Station 19? Ethan looked up. The old firehouse on Barrow Street? "The city condemned it last year," Vanessa said. "Your father bought it at auction for $10. Some sentimental nonsense about his first posting. It's a ruin, but it's yours." She smiled, and it didn't reach her eyes. "Consider it a learning opportunity. That's it." Ethan's voice cracked. Dad was a firefighter for 23 years. He had life insurance, savings, all of which passed to me as a spouse. Vanessa gathered her purse. "The will is ironclad, Ethan. Your father made his wishes very clear in his final months. Perhaps if you'd visited him more during his illness instead of running around with your friends, things would be different." The accusation landed like a fist. Ethan had spent every day at the hospital until his father slipped into that final coma. Vanessa knew that. She'd been there. "You should vacate the house by Friday," she continued. "I'm having the locks changed. Fresh start for both of us." The lawyer wouldn't meet Ethan's eyes. Ethan left with a folder containing one deed to a condemned building and a check for $317 from his father's personal account. The only thing Vanessa couldn't legally touch. Everything else gone. He'd lived in that house since he was 4. His mother's photos were in the attic. His father's awards lined the hallway. By Friday, he wasn't allowed past the door. He spent 2 nights in his car, a 1997 Civic that burned oil and had no heat. On the 3rd morning, he drove to Barrow Street with the last of his gas money and looked at his inheritance. Station 19 sat like a corpse at the end of a dead-end road. Red brick blackened by decades of soot and weather. The bay doors hung crooked, rusted through in patches big enough to crawl through. Windows either broken or boarded. The old sign, once proud, dangled from a single bolt. Graffiti crawled up the east wall. The whole structure tilted slightly, as if the earth beneath it had given up. It was April, but the wind off the river cut cold. Ethan stood in the empty lot, key in hand, and felt the full weight of it. 18 years old, homeless, worth $10. He thought of his father's last coherent words, 2 days before the coma. Ethan had been alone with him, just 5 minutes while Vanessa took a call in the hallway. His father had gripped his wrist, eyes fever bright. A real hero does the right thing even when no one's watching. It was something he'd said Ethan's whole life, his personal creed. But that day in the hospital, he'd said it 3 times, urgent, almost desperate. Then Vanessa returned, and his father's eyes went distant again. Ethan shook off the memory and forced open the side door. Inside, the air tasted like rust and decay. The ground floor was gutted, concrete slab, stripped walls, piles of rotted furniture shoved into corners. Pigeons scattered from the rafters. Water damage stained everything. The old pole firefighters once slid down stood like a skeletal monument in the center of the space, bolted to a second floor that sagged visibly. Ethan's footsteps echoed. He had no plan, no money, no family, just this. He slept in the Civic that night, parked inside the garage bay for shelter. In the morning, he used a gas station bathroom to wash his face and started making a list. The building had no power, no water. but it had walls and a roof, mostly. If he could make one room livable, he could survive long enough to figure out what came next. He sold his laptop for $200 and bought a camp stove, a sleeping bag, tarps, and cleaning supplies. The nearby town, Grissom Falls, felt like it had stopped evolving somewhere in 1987. The hardware store clerk looked at him like he was a problem waiting to happen when he asked about the firehouse. That place should have been torn down, the clerk muttered.
I own it now, Ethan said.
The clerk's expression didn't improve. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan worked alone. He cleared debris from the old bunk room on the second floor, patching holes in the walls with scavenged plywood. He hauled out rotted mattresses, broken chairs, decades of trash. The work was brutal. His hands blistered and bled. He ate ramen and peanut butter and tried not to think about the life he'd lost. The town kept its distance. When he bought supplies, conversation stopped. He caught muttered words, fire chief's kid, that mess on Barrow Street. Something about his father's name carried weight here, and not the good kind. On the 16th day, a woman in her 40s appeared in the bay door. She wore jeans and a canvas jacket, and she carried herself like someone used to getting answers. You're Ethan Cross? He climbed down from the ladder he'd been using to patch the roof.
Yeah.
Mel Ortiz. I run the Grissom Gazette. She looked around the gutted station. You planning to live here? Already am. She studied him with sharp, measuring eyes. Your father was a good man. I covered his retirement ceremony 5 years ago. He didn't talk much, but he was solid. It was the first kind thing anyone in this town had said. Ethan felt something crack in his chest. Thanks. Why'd he leave you this place? I don't know, Ethan admitted. His wife got everything else. Mel's mouth tightened. Vanessa. The way she said the name carried weight. You know her? Ethan asked. I know she married your father 8 months after your mother died, and his health went downhill fast after that. Mel handed him a business card. If you find anything strange, call me. This town has a long memory, and not all of it's pretty. She left before Ethan could ask what she meant. That night, a storm rolled in hard. Rain hammered the compromised roof, and wind screamed through gaps in the walls. Ethan moved his sleeping bag away from a new leak and tried to sleep through the noise. Around midnight, he heard something different, a deep groan of stressed metal, then a crash from below. He grabbed his flashlight and went down. Part of the east wall had finally given up. Bricks had tumbled inward, and with them, a section of the old locker room facade. Ethan swept his light across the damage and stopped. Behind where the lockers had stood, the wall was different. The flashlight beam caught smooth concrete, newer than the rest, and the dull gleam of a steel frame. The collapse had revealed a seam, a vertical line too straight to be accidental. Ethan stepped over the rubble. His pulse kicked up. He ran his fingers along the seam and found a recessed handle, painted over but unmistakable.
A door.
Hidden behind the lockers. He pulled. It didn't budge. He swept debris away from the base and found a keyhole, small and modern, completely out of place in a building this old. His mind raced. His father had bought this property a year ago, had worked here alone on weekends. Vanessa had complained about it. Ethan had assumed it was nostalgia, an old firefighter's retirement project.
But now,
he tried the key from the deed. Too big. He searched the rubble, hands shaking, and found nothing. Then he remembered his father's personal effects, returned from a hospital in a plastic bag. Vanessa had shoved it at him during the estate meeting. You're junk, she'd said. Ethan ran to the Civic and tore through the bag. Wallet, watch, wedding ring. And on his father's keychain, between the house key and the truck key, one small silver key Ethan had never seen before. Back inside, he slid it into the lock. It turned with a smooth, oiled click. The door opened on darkness and the smell of concrete and something else. Preserved air, like opening a capsule. Ethan's flashlight revealed steep stairs leading down into a space that shouldn't exist. He descended. The hidden room was maybe 15 by 20 feet, carved from the foundation itself. The walls were lined with metal shelving, plastic bins, filing boxes, and at the center, a desk with a laptop, still plugged into a battery backup system, its standby light glowing faint green. Ethan's breath caught. His father had built this, hidden it, sealed it behind the lockers. He approached the desk like it might vanish. Beside the laptop sat an accordion folder, thick with papers, and a photo frame face down. Ethan turned it over. His mother smiled back at him. The photo had been taken at a summer barbecue years ago before the cancer. His father's arm around her shoulders. Ethan, maybe 10 years old, grinning between them. Beneath the frame, a note in his father's handwriting. Asterisk Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And Vanessa played it exactly like I knew she would. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you directly. The will had to look real. But I protected the truth. Everything you need is here. A real hero does the right thing even when no one's watching. I'm watching now, son. Finish this. Dad, asterisk. Ethan's eyes burned. He sank into the chair and opened the folder. Inside, financial records, insurance documents, medical files, photographs, audio files labeled by date, and a handwritten index, his father's methodical notes across dozens of pages. Ethan started reading, and the world reshaped itself. His father hadn't been sick. He'd been poisoned. The medical records showed elevated levels of antifreeze metabolites in his bloodstream, consistent with ethylene glycol exposure. Slow, cumulative, untraceable unless you knew to look. His father had known. He'd paid for private lab work, documented every symptom, every hospital visit, compared it to his home routine, traced it to the protein shakes Vanessa made him every morning. But that wasn't all. Vanessa's financial records, obtained God knows how, showed payments from a shell company called Trident Holdings. $50,000, paid in increments over 2 years. Ethan cross-referenced his father's notes. Trident Holdings owned properties across 3 states. All of them had burned. All had been insured for more than they were worth. And all had been inspected and cleared by fire officials in Grissom Falls before the arsons. His father had been fire chief here for 15 years. The documents laid it out like a prosecutor's file. Vanessa worked for Trident. Her job was recruitment. She found fire officials, building inspectors, anyone who could create coverage for insurance fraud. She targeted Ethan's father, married him, tried to bring him into the scheme. He'd refused, so she'd begun killing him, slowly. And while he died, she'd positioned herself to inherit everything, including his silence. But he hadn't been silent. Ethan found recordings, audio files his father had made, conversations with Vanessa, men whose voices Ethan didn't recognize, discussions of problem properties and cleanup, a recorded argument where Vanessa told his father, "You're already dead, Richard. This is just paperwork." Ethan's hands shook so hard he had to set down the files. His father had spent the last year of his life building this case, while pretending to waste away. Had bought this condemned station because no one would question him spending time here. Had hidden everything where Vanessa would never think to look, inside the one thing she'd happily let Ethan have because she thought it was worthless. She'd killed him, and she'd smiled across that lawyer's desk. Ethan didn't sleep. He read everything, organized it, understood it. By dawn, he knew 3 things. Vanessa was a murderer, Trident Holdings was an arson-for-hire ring operating across multiple states, and he was sitting on enough evidence to bury all of them. He also knew they'd kill him the moment they realized. He called Mel Ortiz at 7 a.m. She arrived 30 minutes later and spent 2 hours in a hidden room, reading files, listening to recordings. When she finally surfaced, her face was pale. "This is Jesus, Ethan, this is massive. Federal. Can you run it?" "Not alone. They'll bury me before I get to print." She paced the gutted firehouse. "We need the state police. Maybe FBI. Arson fraud crosses state lines. That's their jurisdiction. If I call them, how long before Vanessa hears?" Mel's expression darkened. "Trident has reach. Your father documented payoffs to officials in 3 counties." She looked at him. "You need to copy everything and get it to someone outside the network. Someone they can't touch." Ethan thought fast. "My father had a friend, ATF agent, retired. Lives upstate. Used to come to barbecues when I was a kid. Name, Ken Boyle. Mel pulled out her phone and made a call. Whatever she said, whoever she knew, it worked. 20 minutes later, she had a contact number. An hour after that, Ken Boyle called Ethan directly. "Your dad was the best man I knew," Boyle said, his voice gravelly and certain. "Send me everything. I'll route it through the right people. And Ethan, do not stay in that building." "Why?" "Because if Vanessa's paying attention, she'll wonder why you haven't crumbled yet. You're supposed to be broken, desperate, easy to ignore. The moment you're not, she'll move." Ethan looked around the firehouse. "What if I want her to move?" Boyle was quiet a moment. "Then you better be ready." Ethan uploaded every file to an encrypted cloud drive and sent Boyle the access codes. He made 3 additional backup copies, gave one to Mel, hid one in the building, kept one on him. Then he waited. He didn't wait long. The next afternoon, a black SUV pulled into the lot. Vanessa stepped out, designer boots crunching on gravel. She wasn't alone. A man in a suit followed, broad-shouldered, eyes cold. Ethan met them in the bay. "Ethan." Vanessa's smile was warm, practiced. "I wanted to check on you. Make sure you were managing." "I'm fine." She looked past him at the gutted station. "It's worse than I thought. Sweetheart, this is dangerous. You could get hurt." "I'm careful." The man in the suit drifted toward the locker room. Ethan's pulse spiked. "Who's he?" Ethan asked. "A contractor. I thought maybe we could help you fix this place up, make it livable. Your father would want that." Vanessa stepped closer, her voice softening. "I know things have been hard between us. I want to fix that." The man disappeared into the back hallway, toward the collapsed wall, toward the hidden door. Ethan's mind raced. The room was locked again, but if they brought tools... "Actually," Ethan said, louder, "I was just leaving, meeting someone in town." Vanessa's eyes sharpened. "Who?" "A reporter. Mel Ortiz. She's doing a story on Dad's career." Something flickered across Vanessa's face, gone in an instant. How nice. What kind of story? His time as fire chief. All the cases he worked. Ethan held her gaze. She found some really interesting stuff in the archives. The silence stretched 3 seconds too long. "Well," Vanessa said lightly, "don't let us keep you." Ethan walked to his car, every instinct screaming. He drove 2 blocks, parked, and called Mel. "They're here. Vanessa and some guy. They're looking for the room. Get out of there. Go to the diner on Main. Public place. I'm calling Boyle." Ethan went to the diner. Ordered coffee he didn't drink. Watched the clock. 40 minutes later, Mel slid into the booth across from him. "Boyle's contacted the FBI. They're moving, but it'll take time. They need to coordinate across jurisdictions, verify the evidence." "How much time?" "Maybe 48 hours." What if Vanessa doesn't wait that long? Mel's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and went pale. She won't. She turned the phone. A news alert. Condemned firehouse on Barrow Street declared immediate hazard. Demolition scheduled. Ethan's stomach dropped. She can't do that. I own it. She got an emergency order. Structural instability, public safety risk. They're bringing a crew tomorrow morning. To bury the evidence. To erase everything his father built. Ethan stood. We have to stop them.
How?
I don't know. His mind spun. But my father didn't spend a year dying just so she could win with a bulldozer. They went back to the firehouse after dark. Ethan's headlights swept the lot, and his blood went cold. The side door hung open. Inside, the hidden door had been sledgehammered. The frame bent, the lock destroyed. Ethan ran down the stairs. The room had been ransacked. Shelves overturned. Boxes torn open. The laptop gone. The files scattered, some missing. But not all. Ethan had hidden a backup inside a false panel beneath the desk. He pried it open. Still there. Footsteps above. Ethan killed his flashlight. He's already copied it. Vanessa's voice. Sharp now, the polish gone. If he's smart, it's already out. Then the kid's the loose end. The man's voice. Flat. Final. Make it look accidental. The building's coming down anyway. Ethan's heart slammed. Mel grabbed his arm in the dark. They crept toward the stairs. Above, a flicker of light. The smell of gasoline. They were going to burn it. With him inside, Ethan moved fast. He pulled Mel back toward the rear of the hidden room, where his father's plans showed an old ventilation shaft leading to the exterior, added when the room was built, an escape route. The grate was rusted shut. Ethan kicked it once, twice. It gave. He shoved Mel through first, then followed, crawling through the narrow shaft as smoke began curling down the stairs behind them. They emerged in the overgrown lot behind the station. Flames already licked the first floor windows. Mel was on her phone.
Fire department now.
And police. Ethan stared at the burning building, everything his father had built turning to ash. Then he heard the sirens. Not just fire trucks.
Police. Lots of them.
The first responders came fast, but the second wave came faster. Unmarked cars. Federal plates. Men and women in windbreakers with 3 letters across the back. FBI. Ken Boyle stepped out of the lead vehicle, older but solid, exactly like Ethan remembered. "You okay, kid?" Ethan nodded, shaking. "We moved fast when Mel called. Flew the case to a federal judge, got warrants an hour ago." Boyle's eyes were hard. "Your father's files were enough. We've got agents hitting 6 locations right now." Vanessa emerged from the far side of the lot, walking fast toward her SUV. She froze when she saw the federal vehicles. An agent intercepted her. "Vanessa Cross, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit arson, wire fraud, and the murder of Richard Cross." She didn't run, didn't scream. She just locked eyes with Ethan across the lot, and for the first time, he saw fear. "You have nothing," she said. Boyle stepped forward, holding up a tablet. "We have everything. Your husband made sure of that." They cuffed her, read her rights, put her in the back of a federal car. The man who'd been with her tried to run. He made it 30 feet. Ethan watched it all from the edge of the lot, Mel beside him, the firehouse burning behind them like a pyre. "I'm sorry about the building," Boyle said quietly. "It did its job," Ethan said. "The fire department saved the structure, mostly. The first floor was gone, but the hidden room, buried in concrete and steel, survived. So did the evidence inside." The case moved fast after that. Trident Holdings collapsed under federal investigation. 11 people arrested across 4 states. Vanessa's trial was scheduled for the fall, but her lawyer was already negotiating a plea. Ethan's father's will was voided, coercion, fraud, undue influence. The estate reverted to Ethan. The house, the savings, everything. But Ethan didn't move back. He used part of the money to renovate Station 19. Proper foundation, new walls. He kept the old pole, the brass fixtures, the bones of what it had been. And he kept the hidden room, turned it into a small archive. His father's case files, photos. The note. Mel ran the story. It went national. Dying fire chief builds case from beyond the grave. Ethan did one interview, said his father's name, and then stepped back. He didn't need fame. He enrolled in community college. Criminal justice. He thought maybe he'd understand it better now what his father had done, the kind of courage it took to face death and still fight. On the anniversary of his father's death, Ethan stood in the renovated firehouse and looked at the framed photo on the wall. His mom, his dad, him, 10 years old. A real hero does the right thing even when no one's watching. His father had been watching, and now Ethan would too. He locked the door, got in his car, not the Civic anymore, something that actually had heat, and drove into a future he'd built from ashes. If this story reminded you why truth matters and justice is worth fighting for, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories of courage, betrayal, and the fight to reclaim what was stolen. Drop a comment and tell us, what would you do if you inherited a secret that